Hey guys, welcome back. One of my favourite things in the lead up to a game or a movie or a TV show that I'm excited for is speculating about what it could entail, and of course, part of speculation always ends up coming back to leaks. I am kind of a sucker for reading leaks and thinking like, ooh, could this be true? What's the potential of this, you know? And Halo Infinite had its fair share of leaks purely because of how little the game was marketed. So, today, I thought it'd be kind of fun to go back and reanalyze those leaks and see how many of them, if any, were actually accurate. I've got some hilarious leaks in here that, dare I say, are quite iconic, and I can't wait to cover them. What we're going to do is we're going to have a tally in the corner of the screen that counts how many of these leaks were false and how many of them were actually accurate, to see if these people that posted these leaks were really onto something or if they were just taking the piss. And I have a feeling that quite a few of these leaks are going to be the latter. So let's dive in. Now, starting off, we're actually going to begin with a leak that I am 99.9% sure was legit. This image was posted, I think, early 2020 to Reddit, I believe. So before any gameplay reveal, before we saw anything of Halo Infinite's HUD or anything. And as you can see, not only are the weapon elements and the ammo elements of the HUD both in the bottom right corner, but the biggest thing in this leak is that you can see a grapple hook in the bottom left. And quick reminder, this is before any of us knew anything about a grapple hook. Now, when this leak released, Frank O'Connor tried to downplay it, but I think we all kind of had this feeling that it might be legit. Obviously, it shows a very early version of Halo Infinite when they're still using Halo 5's sniper model, but it has the grappling hook in it, it has Halo Infinite's UI, its HUD, and you can even see in the center of the crosshair, there's that little X that shows up when you can grapple to a surface. This is definitely legit, and it's probably one of the earliest shots that we have of Infinite's development, and it's pretty mad that this was just randomly leaked one day. So far, that's actually a 100% accuracy rate. However, I have a feeling that that's about to very quickly change. Next up, we have the oldest Halo Infinite leak in this video, coming from 2017, back when the game was still called Halo 6. Now, at this point, Infinite was well over a year from even being announced, and yet some of us were filled with hopium that it might just release in 2018, and boy, how wrong were we? The game launched in 2021 and there's barely any content. Could you imagine if it launched in 2018? Whew, boy, that would not have been good. But this leak says that the game is to feature more Master Chief, and this comes off the back of various statements from Kiki Woolkill and Frank O'Connor about feedback they received from Halo 5, so I suppose it's not really a leak, it's more of just like an evidence-based assumption based on what they'd said, and they were right. Infinite was a more Master Chief focused story, but I think we all knew that was coming after Halo 5, so although they are going to get 1 point for this, I don't know if it's a truly deserving point. Okay, so leak number 3 is one of my favorite Halo leaks of all time. This one gets its iconic status for a reason, so let's jump into it. So this guy says that he is connected to the production of the game, and he can't wait for people to experience what they've been working on for the past few years. Gamers who love stories with epic scope, endearing characters, and complex themes will like the game. And he also says that this may be our final chapter with the Master Chief, so they wanted to make it a truly memorable experience. So, the details. He says there are 4 villains in the game, and arguably there were 5 if you count Hyperius and Tavares, so that's not right. He says that one of the villains is a certain shady intelligence agency, and bear in mind this is in 2019, this is still when people were really hyped up off like all the like disturbing Oni stories and stuff, so you know, we can kind of see where that came from. Another one is a villain from a time before time, so I'm assuming that's the Primordial. Another one is more familiar, so maybe he was alluring to the Didact or something. And the one that I'm... oh my god. The one that I'm most excited for is an amazing ancient human general called Nuada. He's kind of like a prehistoric Irish guy. Voiced by Liam Neeson. Now, it's safe to say that Liam Neeson didn't show up in Halo Infinite. When this leak came out, it was absolutely hilarious. People memed it so hard, it was fantastic. So, ancient human Liam Neeson apparently was going to be leading an assortment of ancient human species, from giant ape-like creatures to small hobbit-like humans, which are the Florians, and apparently Neeson really gave his character his all, and we're excited to reveal you to him at E3. Oh my god. There was a small part of me when this leak came out that was like, maybe that could happen. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time we've had an A-list celebrity in Halo, so it wouldn't have been all that surprising, and it wasn't totally out of the question, but just the idea of Liam Neeson playing an ancient human is just hilarious to me. Chief is of course the centerpiece. This is really about Chief having time to retrospect his career, his choices, and to allow him to grow further as a character. Many fan favorites will also be present too, which wasn't the case, and Chief can make RPG-like choices. Now this is interesting. He said that they have a canon ending set in stone, and they're not going the Mass Effect route of various endings, it's all still linear. However, they decided to have a what-if story implemented for replayability. For example, a character may die in a certain situation because of your prior choices, but the canon ending may say they actually survived. And you know what? That's an idea that I actually kind of like. It's kind of like what Dead Rising 1 and 2 did with their multiple endings, and I think something like that would be kind of a cool feature for future story DLCs. But back to the leak, he goes on to say that there are also many side missions which allow the player to learn more about the Foreigners, humanity's past, and present a certain horrifying species. Now, you could kind of misconstrue that as being legit. Obviously, we had the ancient stone rings that talked about the Foreigners. We had actually, I don't think there was really any mention of ancient humans. There was like the odd little subtle off mention of them, but that was it. There was also the Flood Silex, but this guy is talking out of his ass. I think we all know that this is not a legit leak after the Liam Neeson thing. Okay, so leaving Mr. Qui-Gon in the past, let's take a look at this list of leaks from SVG, which are basically a collection of leaks / evidence-based assumptions, and a lot of these assumptions were assumptions that at the time the community had based on what we'd seen about the game, so they weren't too inaccurate. Firstly, the fact that Infinite will launch with single player only. Now, at one point, this was a leak from Brad Sams, who is a pretty notable Xbox and gaming kind of Microsoft leaker, and it got shot down, but eventually it kind of ended up happening just the other way around. We got multiplayer first and then campaign, so I think there was definitely a little bit of credibility to that leak. Next up, we have the fact that Cortana's plan might be to use Alpha Halo to destroy organic life. Now, obviously, this didn't end up happening, but there was a period in time where a lot of people thought that it was going to happen because of the end of Halo Wars 2, where Anders is on Installation 04C, the third iteration of Alpha Halo, and the Guardian captures it. That led a lot of people to think that Cortana is going to use Alpha Halo for some means, or we're going to be on Alpha Halo and Halo Infinite. Don't worry though, your boy back in 2015 had you all hooked up with the correct theory. I knew from that Halo 5 legendary ending that was going to be Zeta Halo. Well, I knew. I made a very, very accurate guess based on what little evidence we had at the time, and I was right. It wasn't Alpha Halo, it was indeed Zeta Halo, so this gets a big old cross. The game will focus on Master Chief. And I mean, yeah, that was a really obvious one. That one was a no-brainer after Halo 5's campaign. That was like the #1 piece of feedback after Halo 5's campaign. It was like, why did we barely play as Chief? So the fact that Infinite was going to focus on that was pretty much a no-brainer, I'd say. Retired Master Chief voice actor may return for Halo Infinite. Now, I remember when this came out and it was really misconstrued. So when Steve Downes retired, he didn't retire like completely. He just retired from radio. But when he said that he was retiring, people thought that he meant from voice acting and from playing the Chief as well. But that was never the case, so the fact that a retired voice actor returns isn't really a leak because he never retired from voice acting, he just retired from radio. Halo Infinite won't have a Battle Royale mode. Well, it doesn't right now. Dr. Disrespect did not get what he wanted with this game. However, there was a leak the other day, actually, that showed like some settings from a supposedly upcoming lead game mode for Infinite that is a mix of Warzone from Halo 5 and Battle Royale with what's called a containment zone. No idea what this is. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe it is like a Halo take on Battle Royale. Maybe it is just Warzone with a few BR elements thrown in to kind of appeal to the modern gaming audience. Who knows, but this one was technically correct. Marty O'Donnell may return as composer. Nope, that didn't happen. Halo Infinite is an open world game. Now, this is an idea that people had literally since day one of Infinite's announcement. That engine demo in 2018 was pretty much made to kind of hint at the game being open world, right? I mean, it had massive, expansive open environments. That shot of the warthog driving away at the end was meant to invoke a feeling of freedom and exploration, and I think from that trailer, everyone kind of knew that it was going to be an open world game to some degree, and lo and behold, it was. Master Chief could have a new AI companion. Yep, this one ended up being true, and again, it's a theory that, I mean, everyone had from the get-go, because A, Cortana was evil, so it's definitely not going to be the AI in his head, and B, the serial number on the new AI chip that he was putting into his helmet read CTN0453-0, which is like one iteration higher than Cortana's serial number, which was CTN0452-9. So again, this is kind of an evidence-based theory that everyone had from the get-go. Halo Infinite might not support Xbox Play Anywhere. Honestly, I don't know if it does or not. I've not heard anything about Play Anywhere for a while. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you. And finally, Halo Infinite could be set on Installation 07, and thank God this one ended up being true. Again, don't want to brag, but I kind of called this in 2015 with the legendary ending of Halo 5. But yep, this one of course ended up being true. The first bit of truly confirming evidence for this was the Morse code that played on this radio in the 2018 engine demo. When deciphered, the Morse code reads SOS Zeta Halo Grid, which pretty much gave it away. It was a very cool way to tease it. I really liked that, and I'm just happy that in the end we got a game set on Zeta Halo. But you know what isn't a rumor or a leak where the source is just, dude, trust me. The fact that Halo Infinite is a demanding beast on PC. And that's where Acer and AMD, the sponsors of today's video, come in. They sent me the new Nitro 5 laptop to take for a spin, and let me tell you, this bad boy has some serious power behind it. With an AMD Ryzen 7 5000 series CPU and an RTX 3060 graphics card, you'll be pulling frames like never before. And with dual fans and Acer Cool Boost technology, you never have to worry about temps, whether you're annihilating the Banished on Zeta Halo, or out-BRing noobs in matchmaking. You'll be cool as ice 24/7, baby. And further, with the inbuilt Waves Max audio and Acer True Harmony, the sound quality will be immaculate. You know what that means? No Jackal Sniper will ever get the jump on you again. Okay, well, actually, I can't guarantee that because there's not a single thing in existence that could ever guarantee that. You know how sneaky those boys are. But regardless, you'll hear every Banished scream, every enemy footstep, and every one of the Superintendent's voice lines in the highest quality, most crisp audio humanly possible. So if any of this tickles the old fancy, then click the link at the top of the description to find out more. Thank you once again to Acer and AMD for sponsoring the video, and let's return to today's totally legitimate Halo Infinite leaks. Okay, then next up we have another quite iconic Halo Infinite leak. This came out in, I think, early to mid 2020, and it was a supposed Infinite multiplayer leak. Now, these 4 images were dissected more than just about anything in the history of humanity. People were so desperate to see anything, or even hear anything about Infinite multiplayer at the time, that they were ready to believe anything, and these leaks came along at the perfect time. A fair few people thought that these images were actual legit pictures of Infinite multiplayer, considering it had the Reach AR, but obviously they weren't legit. The environment they're in is just one of the buildings from the Silent Cartographer. In this image right here, the pose this Spartan on the left is doing is from a stock image that was released during Halo 3's marketing. The assault rifle is literally just Halo Reach's assault rifle. They added those little hexagons over the screen to make it look like a modern Halo game, because modern Halo games love giving everything hexagons. But these images were fake. Needless to say, they did not represent Infinite multiplayer, and I do think it was quite obvious. I never really put too much stock in these images. I mean, you look at the quality of the pictures and the way they're taken, it's so obviously not legit. Like, no one takes a picture of a camera like moving like that with motion blur on it, right? Like, even that first image that we looked at today, the one that actually was legit, that wasn't terrible quality. It wasn't like a blurry picture that was taken with like a camera from like a smartphone from 2007, right? Like, that was a legit picture. And even then, even though some areas of these pictures look like they're really blurry, in the same image there are bits that don't look blurry, that look really oddly crisp and way too high detail. So I think that these leaks were pretty obviously false from the get-go. That said, we were full of hopium, or hopium and copium, in fact, at the time, because we'd heard nothing about Infinite multiplayer whatsoever, and the game was meant to launch that year, so, you know what? I don't blame anyone for believing these leaks. The well was dry at that point, right? Anything that came along, we were ready to jump on it and believe it. Okay then, leak number 6 is rather interesting because there are quite a few things in here that are strangely accurate, but I think you could kind of assume a lot of them based on the feedback from Halo 5, so that doesn't necessarily mean that this dude was a valid leaker. So, sprint is in. Correct. Ground pad and spotter charger out. Correct also. Clamber is in, but it's used more sparingly in map design. Also correct. Slide is in, and hover is out. Both correct as well. The E3 demo takes place on the Halo ring. Correct. As Chief is rescuing a squad of Marines from a Forerunner tower in the forest. Not quite correct. Shows off open levels, but it's not open world, just really big maps which are revisited and used in many ways / changed. This isn't the case. Now, that actually leads me to just talk about something a little bit different for a second. I remember before launch, 343 didn't want to call this game open world and kept saying that it wasn't like a true open world game, but it was? Like, am I the only one that thinks that it wasn't a true open world game? Like, you can explore all of the islands, you unlock more of the open world as you go through the game, but you can freely explore the entire thing at the end. That to me is an open world game. I don't know, I'm not sure why they were saying it wasn't an open world game. Shows off new graphics, flora and fauna, obviously that's a given. You encounter Cortana's Covenant, nope, that didn't happen, that definitely didn't happen. Shows off new AI, with brutes being emphasized as returning, with callbacks to Halo 3. That was the case with equipment and also, obviously, the brutes. Promethean Knights are used as a boss encounter, no, that didn't happen. That definitely did not happen. Show off new weapons, like a brute explosive sniper, which isn't that far off, but I think that's a pretty, valid judgment to make based on the design and the aesthetic of the brutes and what their weapons would be like. And a Forerunner beam splitter? Nope. A mysterious robotic character communicates to Chief in his radio? No. Although, to be fair, to give this guy the benefit of the doubt for a second, maybe saying he was legit, maybe he was referring to the Harbinger at some point? But, nah, that's not legit. This one's great. The demo ends when they stumble onto a village of farming humans and hobbits, Marines crack a joke, and a pelican touches down in the distance. Imagine, dude, in that demo in 2020, you and the Marines get over the brow of a hill. You see a village of the Tadesa people from Primordium, and Liam Neeson is just there wandering around farming. I actually kind of wish that happened. That would have been fantastic. 2 multiplayer maps are shown. I just realized this one's from 2019, and this dude's 2 multiplayer maps are going to be shown at E3. Nice meme, my friend. Nice meme. One of them is a Valhalla remake, revealed to be part of a large Forge World open map. Nope, nope, nope. Other map is a small snow-themed map. Snow in Halo Infinite, imagine. Unfortunately not. The MP info ends, but they promise huge new modes that will let you play Halo in ways you never have before, and modes you have enjoyed for years already. Maybe they were going to do that at some point and say, here's these modes that you've enjoyed playing for years, coming in 7 years' time. God. And the teaser ends with elites and hunters approaching red/blue multiplayer Spartans, and the Spartans act shocked. There are so many inaccuracies in that one sentence that I don't think I even need to elaborate anymore. So, a lot of that was very incorrect, as is the trend today, I think. And the 7th and final leak that we're going to cover today is just pure hopium boiled down into a post. This is literally hopium, the official leak, so prepare yourself. There will be 25 main missions, totaling a 20-hour campaign, and 35 side missions for an additional 15 hours, totaling 35 hours of campaign-based content, not including collectibles, Easter eggs, or other hidden goods. Definitely not the case. This game is not a 20-hour-long story. I feel like even if you do all the stuff in the open world, it's not even 30. Not that that's a bad thing, but it's definitely nowhere near as long as this guy was hoping it was going to be. Skulls return, yeah, and they're holdable like Halo 3. Nope, sadly not. 25 main missions, nope, but all feature Chief as the main playable character, yes. Side missions are unlocked when beating a main mission and feature a different playable character, as they take place concurrently with the mission that unlocked them. Each mission can unlock anywhere from 0 to 3 side missions. Definitely not the case, but honestly, that's quite a cool idea. Okay, here's a good one. All missions, main and side, will be launchable from the main menu at any time after unlocking them, so you don't have to worry about missing a side mission if you journey ahead. Damn dude, imagine a Halo game launching with the option to replay missions. Whew, that's crazy talk, that's crazy talk. The featured characters that will be in the side missions include Kelly, nope, Linda, nope, Fred, nope, Jerome, nope, Alice, no, Douglas, no, Palmer, no, Locke, no, Buck, no, Vale, no, Tanaka, no, Arbiter, no, Atriox, no, and Let the Lear, definitely not. And then after beating the campaign, you will unlock Exploration Mode, which lets you explore the open world environments, okay, that's accurate, without being restricted to the campaign as your multiplayer Spartan, which isn't the case, but that's something that a lot of us were hoping for. The locations include Installation 07, 04C, the Ark, Earth, and Reach, as well as one more location that I won't mention because it would be a huge spoiler for the main story. Now, all jokes aside, I do kind of think that at some point Reach was meant to play a part in Infinite Story, considering not only Shadows of Reach and the whole like Reach emphasis they put on this game with like Season 1 being Heroes of Reach, the Reach AR coming back, the entire prelude to the game being set on Reach in a book, but also the fact that there's quite a lot of Reach concept art for Halo Infinite, like a surprising amount of it. So I do think at some point we were meant to go to Reach in Halo Infinite, but obviously that didn't end up happening. Playable elites return to multiplayer with full armor customization alongside the introduction of playable brutes. However, brute customization is limited, akin to how elite customization worked in Reach. You know what, dude? I'm going to applaud you for the sheer volume of hopium you had when you were writing this post. Honestly, I want whatever you're having, because my god, we didn't even get anything close to that. Rec weapons and vehicles will not return in Halo Infinite, except for a select few, which kind of in a way was accurate, because in the campaign we had some rec-ish weapons, but they aren't officially in multiplayer yet at all. But they will live on as weapon skins for weapon skin supported guns, most notably Oathsworn and Nornfang, which will be used by Kelly and Linda respectively. Again, good one, but definitely not the case. Not the case at all. So, as you can see by the final tally, don't believe everything that you read on the internet. Don't listen to every leak and treat it as gospel just because it says things that sound cool. By all means, read it and think like, oh, that'd be cool, or oh, what if they did that? But don't put your stock in random leaks on the internet, because chances are it's just somebody who's absolutely jacked on hopium and really wants to see some certain things in a game or a movie or a TV show or anything. If anything, the moral of this video would be the only leaks that you should ever listen to for Halo are toy leaks, because you know what? Those toy leaks from last year and the year before, I'd say that they had a pretty high hit rate, at least in the 90%, if not higher than that. But you know what? With that absolute bombshell, let's round this one out here. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this kind of video. It's a little bit different to my regular content, but like I said in my last video, I'm going to be uploading some real different stuff soon, so maybe that's the way forward. Maybe that's the healthy way forward for us all. Mixing it up, because Halo sure as hell ain't doing that right now. But like I said, let's end the video here. I want to give a massive thank you to my amazing patrons for the continued support over there. Thank you all so much, and thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll catch you all in the next one.